Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Thursday, October 26th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple quick clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around. That's because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, ticker symbol BTAI. Big mover today and has pulled back, but this is what makes it interesting because it pulled back. And at this moment in time, it's always a very interesting situation where you got to throw out the question, okay, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that have traded for a while. But if you have, I'm sure you've seen those stocks that, start strong, come down, and then they just keep dropping, and they go right back into oblivion, the classic gap and trap. But that was not the case here. The price did at least start to go sideways. Now, let me be very clear, and I wish I could say trading was this easy. Just because there is a pullback, just because it went sideways, does not mean for sure guaranteed the price is going to head back up. My point here is it becomes more plausible at this point to throw out that suggestion that, yeah, maybe this pullback is over. Maybe this thing wants to start to turn itself back around. So on that note, first key level will just be from a support standpoint. Nothing fancy here, just a question of where did the pullback finally stop, and that was right here around 273. So keep an eye on that. And then as far as resistance levels are concerned, top part of this, little consolidation area right up there around the $3 mark. So keep an eye on that. So while there are no guarantees, is it plausible to think that if the price can come up here and push up through that level, that could bring in some buyers again that are looking for this consolidation and thinking that it's over? Absolutely. Next one here, ticker symbol NVVE, penny stock here. Same general idea as what I just talked about, so I don't want to spend too much time on it like a broken record. But nice strong move here during that opening 30 minutes. There was this pullback here, but the price has now started. I'll change up the color. Price has now started to go sideways. So again, does this mean for sure guaranteed the price is going to curl back upwards? It doesn't mean that, but it's at least a plausible thought process to have. And then for those of you that like to play patterns, let me just extend. So when I factor in, yes, there is a downwards channel right now, but when you consider what was happening before the downwards channel, what I've now just drawn is the classical bull flag pattern. I should note that just because there's a bullish pattern does not mean for sure guaranteed the price is going to go upwards. But my point here is that it's not unreasonable to think, as I was just talking about, that with the sideways movement, this thing could turn itself back around. I will note, though, that very well-defined area of resistance on this one, right up there, that pink line, 200 period moving average. You can see, broadly speaking, last time the price got up around that area, that's right where the momentum really started to suffer. So if the price does get back up there, that does not mean that the momentum will suffer again. It just means that it's an area that you definitely want to keep an eye on. But overall, for you penny stock players, nice little setup here. Next one here, SNAP, Snapchat, brutal day today with all the earnings and all that. But what makes this interesting is, yes, brutal day. Started off strong. True story. To think that some poor souls bought up there. Hopefully they're using a stop loss. But point here being, this was a gap and trap. So like I said earlier, some of these stocks, they'll pull back, but they just keep pulling back. And that's exactly what happened here. It pulled back and then just kept on going. But now it has, in a very modest sense, started to go sideways. But it's not necessarily the sideways action that stands out to me. It's the location of the sideways action, the location being right there at the very well-known, the very famous 200 period moving average. Now, again, just because the price has gone sideways at a very key level of support does not mean that it's going to turn itself around, but it's certainly worth keeping an eye on, especially when Snapchat, I'm not going to call it a cult stock, but it's a relatively popular stock. So when lots of people are watching the same stock, wondering the same types of things, then it makes sense that, there could very well be a self-fulfilling type prophecy where the thing does curl back upwards off of this 200 period moving average. So again, popular stock, got absolutely beat down, looking pretty ugly, but you do have some sideways action at a key moving average. So we'll see if this is indeed some sort of support level or not. Next one here, ticker symbol MARA, and overall nice movement here. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that line because I think there's a better way to look at this one, and especially just from a pattern standpoint. So again, self-fulfilling prophecies, a lot of people watching the same general areas, a lot of people wondering the same general things. So this is not me trying to impress you or anything like that. And again, I just say that to emphasize that there's a lot of people that have noticed this dynamic here that I'm pointing out. And then let's get a lower trend line in place right there. Change that to green, and then to maybe make this easier to see, let's keep it one color now. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big upwards move here for you golfers out there who try to make it a little bit more visual. Put the golf hole down here. So this would not be a bull flag pattern like we've already had. This would be a bull pennant. But again, sane general idea. No guarantees, but is it reasonable to think? Is it plausible that if the price comes up here, breaks through that level, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure, even if it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy because there's so many eyeballs watching and saying, I'm a breakout trader. Oh, look, that broke out. Oh, I'm supposed to buy because I'm a breakout trader and it just broke out. Yeah, those things really do exist. Doesn't mean it'll happen here, but it's a reasonable thought process. Next one here, ticker symbol AMC. And from a big picture standpoint, not a whole lot to talk about other than the fact of, just remaining sideways channel that I've talked about time and time again. Top of the channel being 1025, bottom of the channel being 895. Now, the one interesting dynamic here is the price is, somewhat close. So it does, bring about the question, maybe the price can go down there and continue on down. So that's, the one interesting dynamic there of what could, play out on Thursday. But overall, like I said, from the bigger picture, nothing new to report. The sideways channel is still in play. Now, in the very near term, had a pretty rough movement here over the past couple of days because when you factor in that there was a very nice period of time right there where the price struck upwards. But now at this point, all those gains have been wiped away. So yes, from a very narrow point of view, this in and of itself, that move right there was just a dead cat bounce again because the price has gone right back to where it all started. But taking a step back and looking at a broader view, it's not like that destroyed the chart or anything like that because again, the price is still within this sideways channel. So near term, dead cat bounce, all those gains were given back up. But a bigger picture point of view, the price is ultimately still just chopping around inside of this overall sideways channel. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online event that I'm offering here very soon. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. Next one here, ticker symbol TSLA Tesla. And overall, charts hanging in there. Yes, today was red. And I do want to, on that note, get a trend line in play that you got to think a lot of people have put into place. So once again, I'm not trying to impress you. This is not some sort of great discovery on my part, but you do got to think a lot of people would probably put that trend line in place. So it seems reasonable that could, carry with it, potential self-fulfilling prophecy type angle. So any sort of turnarounds back upwards, definitely keep an eye on that level. Although I should note in the very near term, any sort of attempted moves back upwards, you're going to need to keep a close eye on that purple line there, 50-period moving average. And that's just based on the foundational rule that when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. But also on that note, even if the price breaks above there, I want to get too excited because, again, from an overarching standpoint, you have that level right there of the trend line that could present some problems. In terms of levels of support, nothing new here to report from the previous videos I've done. Still have that initial area there at 225, and then the next level down there at 205.25. So again, from that angle, nothing new to really report. Although with the move down here, it's starting to potentially, do you get a retest of that level right there? And does the price come down there and bounce? Certainly an interesting dynamic here headed into Thursday. Next one here, NKLA. And I find this one interesting, and maybe you completely disagree, and I would respect that completely. I appreciate people think for themselves. But right here at the 95-cent mark, going back through the history of things, this thing has quite the track record of price coming down there, finding support, bouncing, finding support, bouncing, finding support, bouncing. Even right here, it didn't hit exactly, but finding some sort, bouncing. So my question here is it's a very simple premise. If the price goes back down there, well, I'm going to throw out the question, will history repeat itself? Will it bounce like it's done several times before? Very basic premise, but that's what trading's all about. And that's what risk reward is all about. Now, of course, I'm assuming that you're going to be disciplined, you're going to honor risk and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, from a risk reward scenario, if the price comes down there and continues to collapse, well, that's what stop losses are for. But if it comes down there and you can get some sort of bounce, then relative to what was being risked, you could be looking at some nice upside. So if you like these sorts of scenarios where maybe you get some sort of bounce when there's already been a track record of bounces, certainly keep an eye on NKLA. Next one here, AGNC, and I 100% understand if you have zero interest in this because you would be accurate in saying, Clay, it feels like you're throwing out there, potentially trying to catch a falling knife. And you know what? I'm not gonna disagree with that at all. But some people do very well with these sorts of scenarios where they find those stocks that get absolutely beat down, and that's what we have here. I mean, it was already a beat down on that gap down, tried to bounce, but then late day on Tuesday continued down, and then today, Wednesday, just essentially straight down, and the quote-unquote straight down being visualized there, which is why I want to start off by getting that trend line in play. But some people, they enjoy these situations that are where the stock gets beat down, and check out the last 30 minutes of the day here. huge volume, biggest volume all day. Usually you're getting the biggest volume during the opening 30 minutes like you had right here. But last 30 minutes, biggest volume. So it's one of those situations where at some point you got to think that the selling pressure is going to, let up and alleviate itself a bit. And when that happens, can the price come up to that trend line and get some sort of dead cat bounce? And from a dead cat bounce, not necessarily you're looking for a reversal, but even a bounce, those sorts of situations can lead to some very interesting, profitable outcomes. But of course, you got to manage that risk. You don't want to sit here, buy and hold and hope. You've got to be able to have a system in place. But the point here is that if you do enjoy these situations where you have get a stock that's getting absolutely destroyed, but you're always on the lookout for a potential quick turnaround, then I would say this fits those criteria. Next one here, ticker symbol GOOG, Google. And again, same idea, very popular stock and a very, very interesting pattern here after getting absolutely beat down with the earnings. So let me just get this pattern in play. That's the bottom part of the pattern support. Get the top part of the pattern right here, that resistance trend line. And maybe someone would disagree with this, and to be fair, this is in some senses a bear pennant pattern. But also, I would say we have an aspect here of a falling wedge pattern. And the reason why I look at this from more of a bullish angle is because it's just such a popular stock that's gotten beat down. And people are looking for any reason, any excuse at all to buy those situations when they get them moved downwards. And then they're thinking, wow, Google got beat down today. Wow, Google got beat down today. Therefore, I'm going to look for any reason at all to buy. And sometimes it can be something as simple as a little pattern like this comes up here, breaks up through there, and that break in and of itself causes people to want to get involved with it. So as always, as I've said a dozen times, we'll probably maybe say a dozen more times, there are no guarantees, but I would not call this some sort of irrational situation. You have a falling wedge on a very popular stock that's gotten beat down, so worth keeping an eye on. Next one here, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ. So if you believe the NASDAQ market as a whole is going to rise, this one will also rise. The biggest difference here, it just allows you access at a much lower price point, and I track this one quite a bit. So the first update, I'm just going to delete that line out as it served its purpose. But the first main update is just based on that foundational rule that I've stated earlier, that when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So yes, right now there is some sideways movement. If this is some sort of bottom and if the price does start to curl back upwards, that'll be the first big question mark. Can the price stay above and maintain above that $34 mark, which you can see right here? Price tried to get above it, but as far as maintaining above it, got above it, but could not stay above it, and then back down it went. So any sort of bounce, keep an eye on that. But also you're going to want to continue to monitor that purple line right there, 50-period moving average, as it slopes downwards as an area of resistance. And right now, it does take second priority to this $34 mark, but again, that is a moving average. So as time goes by, that line is going to move itself down below there and then take a higher priority at that point. In terms of areas of support, I'm actually quite interested about this trend line right here. See if it comes into play and serves any sort of deeper purpose and deeper meaning, moving forward in terms of whether or not it provides another bounce point. But overall, like I said, I think these two lines here really map out well with the key parts of the NASDAQ moving forward. So we'll see what happens with it. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool and how it should be used, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. It'll be Thursday very soon, October 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, then please do two things for me. Hit that like button and leave a comment. Say hi. Tell me what you traded today. Give me your watch list for tomorrow. But those two things help out the channel. Communicate to me that you enjoy. And as long as I know that you are enjoying, I will continue to do these videos. So again, get signed up for that free class. Hit that like button, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.